Good morning. We're going to take another quick FSD drive, version 12.5.1.3. One of the other additions is to the screen. You see a little sun showing, I guess, that it's daytime. You see the temperature, 79 degrees Fahrenheit. And I don't know if you can see this or not. It's pretty small print, but it says AQI 57 for air quality index. So if I touch any of those three things, we get the forecast for Kissimmee, and says the AQI is moderate, and the UV index here at 8 in the morning is 0. Shows the wind, the humidity 90%. As always, it's Florida. Shows the high today, at least the high as far as this goes to 2 o'clock, as 91, though expected high of 93 later in the day. And of course this changes with your location. So that's a fairly small addition, but that did appear with this version and was mentioned deep into the release notes. So we'll start to drive manually a little bit here. Get onto a real road. And I'll activate the FSD to go to the clinic from within inside the neighborhood, because we do have to pass through a security gate. There is no barricade. There is a speed bump before the security gate, and the car does slow, I think, for the speed bump, but it does show a faint display of the gate on the screen when you approach it. So I can't say for certain that it's stopping for the speed bump versus stopping for the actual security gate in previous versions. So I'm recording today with the Akaso 7E action camera, 4K 30 frame per second mode, mounted on a selfie stick wedged between the driver's seat and the center console. The squirrel was blocking the way. The car did not brake for it, but the squirrel got out of the way. Saved his own life. I did note on my long drive from Tennessee that the car still doesn't try to avoid defects in the road like potholes or smaller pieces of trash, even when it would have been safe to do so. It might be nice if it tried to save the tires, but then again, you have to decide where do you draw the line on these things, especially when there's traffic. In most cases, those hazards are just ignored, meaning you run over them.
In 500 feet, enter the roundabout and take the second exit.
So let's see if we can turn off that voice a little bit. On the previous video, I mentioned unexpected slowdowns on the interstate, where it would set the speed limit display down to 40 randomly. Sometimes it's not random. Sometimes it goes to 40 and then displays maintaining velocity for traffic flow. So I'm not sure if it's hallucinating the 40-mile-an-hour limit signs or not, because I've been looking to see if there were any minimum speed limit signs that could account for this, but this would happen even with no signs in sight and with no traffic in sight sometimes. It would just randomly slow down to 40, and generally I would roll the speed up using the right control wheel to get it back to the speed limit, especially if there was traffic. So this time the gate was wide open there because of the preceding car, so we are slowing down for a speed bump here. The main challenging part of this drive is the final left turn across 3 lanes of traffic to get into the clinic's parking lot. It's always a high traffic area, or almost always. And sometimes cars in the left turn lane will leave a gap to allow people to turn while they're waiting on the traffic light that's not far from that entrance. So we'll see what happens. This will be the first time I've attempted to let the FSD handle that turn on its own. Raise the camera just a little bit. Just to give a little bit better view of the road. In case I didn't mention it, this video is being filmed in South Kissimmee, Florida, close to Poinciana, Florida. As we sit here, we're about 40 to 45 minutes away from the main gate to Disney. I used to live closer to Disney, but decided I went to work more often than I went to Disney, so better to be closer to work. Right here, the legal speed limit is 55. The car is set to 62, but the car is driving 55. Again, I have the automatic speed adjustment turned off. I have the offset turned on. There is a school zone coming up ahead. So if the car doesn't notice it, I'll have to do this manually because there are frequently police ready to give you a ticket if you blast through the school zone, where the limit goes down to 25 miles an hour for a few hundred feet. lights are not flashing. So maybe we're too late for the school zone since it's already 8 a.m. And traffic has slowed us down to the mid-40s. So we do need to get in this left lane to make a turn, and it looks like we're going to do so. Maybe not for the turn, but at least for the traffic flow. Two more lights, and then we have to make our left turn across traffic without a light. So we pass through this traffic light coming up ahead, and then there's a short left turn lane, and then we'll have to wait for our opportunity to cross the traffic. Every now and then there are gates in that, so it's taking a different route this time. That's interesting. So it went ahead and got into the left lane, which is not called for by the GPS, so that would be an error. I won't say it's impossible to get over there, but you'd have to drive through the parking lots of some businesses. So normally a left turn lane that follows the traffic light would not begin before the traffic light. So I'll keep my hand near the wheel in case it tries to merge back, because that would basically be impossible with bumper-to-bumper traffic. So we'd have to say this was primarily a navigation error, because it definitely turned the turn signal on like it thought it was supposed to go left. And it did so too quickly for me to really do anything about it. And the time it took me to double check the GPS to make sure the route was correct, it had already gotten over the left turn lane and other cars had already filled in. So you could still get to my clinic by going through the racetrack parking lot, through the shopping center parking lot, through the Dollar General parking lot, and then over to my clinic. But that is not displayed on the GPS, so I suspect we're going to be lost after this turn. Or maybe it'll try to do a U-turn and get back on course. We'll find out. Somebody else just made an illegal left turn from the second right lane into this road. The car ahead of this pickup truck did. And now the map rewrites itself and shows a pathway through the racetrack gas station. Interesting. Somehow I don't think the FSD re-navigated this route to avoid a left turn. That would be like too intelligent, because you would think it has to rely on the route chosen by the navigation and not create its own route. But here we go through the racetrack parking lot, through the Dollar General. We're in the Dollar General parking lot here at a stop sign. And let's see if it turns into the clinic. And it does not. It drove right by the clinic. So I'll go ahead and deactivate it this time, since I'll have to turn around here in front of the sheriff's office station and get us back on track. So that was interesting. I'd have to call that a navigation failure, though, since the navigation computer redid the route, it was able to get pretty close to the destination, even though it missed the entrance to the building. So tell me what you think. Certainly not a safety-related failure or a critical disengagement, as I disengaged because it was just going to wander around parking lots probably, and I do have to get to work. But it was an unusual failure, though I have noted even with the prior version that arriving at the destination tended to be a problem, as it would miss turns to go into the destination even when they were clearly shown on the navigation map. That bug seems to have been introduced with 12.5.1.1. So here we are. Until next time, see you later.